this. So my answer to that question was probably I did not know that I would build what it is today. A lot of what GoGet is today is because of user feedback, failures, things that people came to us and said was not working, and then we changed the business. So when we first started in 2014, it was a platform for errands and deliveries. And this meant that for consumers, an individual consumer, they could ask for a personal helper to like dispatch an item, pick up your dry cleaning, pick up your groceries. But over the years, what we found that the biggest demand came from businesses. So an SME user would use us 20 times a day. A small business owner, bakery, would use us to send her cakes. A florist would use us to wrap the flowers. So we realized that a lot of businesses started using GoGet. So that's where we actually built the platform now for what we call a community platform for part-time help. And that's how we connect businesses to trusted and reliable part-timers. So how did I get inspired by this? I actually didn't get inspired by this idea at the moment. This idea was so much from the user. And we realized what worked, what didn't, and then evolved to this.
How is the response so far from the users?
It's been amazing. Essentially, the moment we focused on things that made sense, we broke even within a year. We're operationally healthy right now. We do not burn as a company, and the business model works. Yeah, it's simple as that.
So this platform is now launched in Malaysia.
Yes.
And do you have any plans, or have you already started to expand to ASEAN?
No, we are only in Malaysia at the moment, which is in Penang and JB and KL. But we have a larger ASEAN vision, and that will be to come in 2020.
So I just like to understand more about, what is, your thought on the topic. How has the digital platform leave the sharing economy in Malaysia? In your case, you're doing exactly that to connect the businesses to part-timers. So how do you see the sharing economy in Malaysia? How is the growth going so far?
So for Malaysia, it is immense growth in 2014 when we joined the industry. In 2014, that was the same year Uber and Grab joined. Well, Grab wasn't called Grab, it was called My Taxi in Malaysia, and therefore that was the year where even going to a stranger's car and getting a ride was weird. Like people would be like, "Oh, are you sure you can trust going to someone's car?" That was 2014. It is only 2019 now, only 5 years, and now everyone's like, oh yeah, that's actually a normal thing. And so the growth of sharing economy has just completely been an exponential growth. And you see that not only in the sophistication of the consumer, but also in businesses. So businesses at first didn't understand how to use platforms like this, for example. And maybe in 2017, at most we would have like 1 or 2 meetings with API integrations with our technology platform. But then in 2019, almost like every week we have a new discussion on API integrations, which shows that the business landscape now is also changing and figuring out ways where instead of you managing in a traditional way, you could integrate with a platform like this and create a business request or job request on demand and not have to hire someone full-time. And so companies that used to be 20 people large can be 5 people small now, and you can call on teammates whenever you need. So it's drastically changing.
So I'd like to ask, among our delegates, do you have any question that you would like to ask Francesca? If you're too shy, maybe you can write down your answers. But while I wait for you to ask them something, a question, let me ask you, how many of you are a startup? Could you please raise your hand? Okay. And how many of you are working adults? Not in a startup, but working adults. Okay. And what about the rest? Are you students? Not students?
I'm
No?
not.
Okay. Okay. Let's move on to Mr. Ken, right? So I read your profile, and you mentioned that your travel website is inspired by novel experiences. Could you tell us about it?
I was a software engineer, and I left my comfort zone to continue my documentary journey. I used to be a documentary photographer, and I lived in a small island called Penang in Malaysia. So I met traders who made bedak sejuk. In English, we call it as a cooling face powder. And being a photographer, I love all the pictures, beautiful pictures. So I decided to take the whole making process. And after that, I found something valuable. This uncle, these artisans, he taught tourists to make this bedak sejuk cooling face powder. So that's where I decided to start this platform Local, so that I allowed this technology to connect global travelers to these unique, exclusive local experiences. So that's where I started this. And what really inspired me to start this business, so we have to accept the fact that not everyone, born in cities. So we might be, coming from the rural areas. And most of these small towns are dying. There's no youth, and they are all moving up from the old town. And Local, we started to focus more on rural areas. And we try to focus on the unique experiences, how we make some things by participating in workshop. And when we started this, for the first year, we can see that we can use this technology to revitalize the aging trades. And they can even use this platform to share their knowledge, to find some youth. And that's where we see a crossover. And we see that for all these aging trades, when there's involvement from the youth, that's where we see a creativity and innovations embark. And this is one of the fun things that we really want to see, and it happened. And that's where we decided to fully focusing on this platform. And that's what inspired me to continue this.
So, maybe you can share, because I understand that you've been doing this for quite a while, and you have maybe, I think for a lot of entrepreneurs or startups, the biggest challenge is getting fundings when you want to become a startup. So do you have any experience with, crowdfunding, and how did that go? Maybe you can share, some advice, some tips for our audience here.
Yeah, frankly speaking, before I started Local, I used to be a chief operating officer in one of the leading crowdfunding platform. And why I want to participate in this crowdfunding business, because I thought that by involving a mass market, and someone can contribute money, and we can crowdfund the money to build something to achieve your dream. And of course, eventually I can see that in order to get this funding, we really want to show a tangible impact to our investors, to our people. And in crowdfunding platforms, if you really want to do that, you have to make sure you tap on your inner circle first, because they are the one who can be your first batch of supporters, adopters. And I can see that for the crowdfunding ecosystem in Malaysia, it's not that mature at this moment. And in order to for you to achieve something better by getting more funding, you have to pitch to the angel investor, venture capital, and that's where I step out from this company and started my own Local and deliver the real value. And this something special, bring a real impact to the customer, to our community. And for my first funding, how I got that, I received my first funding from Cradle. That's the Local VC in Malaysia. And after that, we tried to participate global competition, and got our global presence, and show our impacts globally or regionally. And to pitch our idea, what I did, I shared a video. And this video is purely showing all the feedbacks from our community. And I present on behalf of my local hosts, on behalf of my community. So that's the best way to show the real impacts. Eventually, investors want to see two things. In your business, if your business can really scale fast while maintaining your profit or growing your profit, that's the best way for you to persuade your investor.
So the crowdfunding scenario in Malaysia is still not mature yet, right? I understand that it can be very challenging to pitch the idea, to find the right investors, to feed the businesses that you have. So like, maybe we can hear a little bit more from like our ASEAN friends, Do you have any questions, that you want to ask? Ken here, with regards to crowdfunding, maybe you can share with us what is your experience, in your country, what is the crowdfunding experience like in your home country? I see that you're so quiet. Are we doing this right? I'm sure we are. It's just that I think they're very, very shy. So, if you really have any questions that you'd like to ask, please just write it down and you can pass it to Ms. Fatin. Yeah, we'll be happy to hear from you. Now let's move on to Tony. Yes, I got that right. So Tony, could you tell us a little bit about the background of your company and, how did you come up with that idea? Are you an artist yourself? I'm pretty sure you're a creative person.
Yeah, true. That's why I started business for artists. It's because myself is the designer's background. I'm studying product design. So I really facing a big issue when I graduated. I actually had no choice to get the job I want. So even though for freelance or even though permanent. So if I don't have the network, actually I really, really hard to get a job in Malaysia. I'm not sure how about others country. So I can say, my only freelance I can get is from my relative. That's all. So the biggest challenge is the network. So after that, after I worked for 4 years as a designer role, I set up my own agency. I think that agency should be much more easier compared to a freelancer. But I stuck in another big trouble. It's really, really hard to survive as an agency. It's really competitive in the markets. So right now you are not work as alone. You need to pay a lot of costs like company costs, secretary costs. Not like a freelancer. They can cut the price, one logo 50 ringgit until free. That's what they can be done. So at that time we are still thinking how to going to survive. So also we are inspired from Uber sharing economy concept. That time I'm thinking it's very hard. I can hire a good talent to support my agency. So that time I'm thinking if the whole Malaysian designers they're under my company, so I can get a lot of different big jobs from big companies. So this is the idea. We start to recruit some of the designers. I still remember the first designer I recruited is from Australia. They just come back to Malaysia. So I just have a quick talk and start a quick idea to designer render service. So I want to rent the designer to another company just for 1 month or few days. So it's very, I think it's a very good kickstart. This Indian designer is quite agree with the idea as well. Okay, a good try to experience different company. So I just proposed to another agency. Today I interviewed, tomorrow I can send the design to the company. It's very strict. I told the company you can have a try version 3 days. If you're not like designers, you can just anytime terminate. Same to the designer side. So from there we are starting. It's a good model. The designer is very happy. They continues to contract until 3 months. The designer get a pay, the client get the designer on the spot. Of course, I get the margins. So it's a win-win situation. Starting from there, we start to recruit more and more designers at different expertise. Until today, we get more than 2,000 creative talents in our pool. Because actually, I think our platform can grow faster because the demand is there. As you know, the creative demand right now, a lot of companies they are require like digitalize all the material they need to be done is by designer, is by photographer, all these kind of talents. So because demands, all the big companies come to the platform to source for either it's freelancer, contract, or permanent. So we are starting from here. So through our record, we really help a lot of designers that really get extra income and a proper career path on creative line. Before that, I think that creative, you are unable to work until retire. It's really, really painful on this career path. So I hope because of our artist platform can help the whole creative industry to grow much more faster and can support for the demand as well.
So right now, does your market focus is only in Malaysia, or it's basically open for almost anyone that's looking for freelance creative jobs?
Right now, we are only focusing on Malaysia is because actually in the global, got a lot of the international platform like Fiverr, freelance.com. Actually, what is our differences is we are emphasize on let the local designer serve the local clients. That's how we're going to train or designer at the client side. Because you will face three issues when you engage overseas designers. One is the culture, language, and the time zone issue. So we hope we can go independently in Malaysia. Yeah. So of course we will expand to another overseas market as well in the next 2 years' time.
Thank you, Tony. I have a question for Francesca. You know that I notice where I come from, like my neighborhood that I have, I see so many stalls these days are like empty, you know. So I wondered, I asked one day, it was just a normal stall, tom yum stall, you know. And I asked the lady there, you know, what happened to the businesses? So she told me that I don't need to wait for customers anymore now because, you know, I use the apps. And now people can order food, you know, from home. So, you know, I think that digital has helped many people across the country, you know, to benefit from one way or another. So I like to understand that, you know, in your experience managing the Irizaki program, right, to uplift the nation's B40 segment, do you see the possibility of expanding this initiative across ASEAN? How does that work so far, the Irizaki program?
Sure.
Could you tell us a little bit more about it?
Great. Just want to clarify, I don't manage it though, but I am just a partner in the program with many other players in it as well. Yes. The e-visiting program is a program under MDEC that serves to uplift the B40 segment of Malaysia. For those who are not from Malaysia, it means the bottom 40% of the income, household income of the nation. So we actually help people through two ways. One way, if you are looking to earn part-time, they can come onto our platform, get verified, and get trained, then instantly get job opportunities. What this does is that it allows people to suddenly scale or grow their income on a flexible manner. A lot of people here in this segment may not have a may not have a graduate degree. Doesn't mean that they cannot work. Other people, they may have a graduate degree, but they may not be optimized for a 4x4 walls, like sitting on a desk kind of work. So they like meeting people outside. And then sometimes they have to be mothers to take care of their kid, but also want to earn for the household. So all these things usually in the past means that they were not included in the workforce because it was very hard for them to get an interview or pass and then get a job. But now with GoGet, what we empower them to do is hopefully get access to jobs instantly. All you need is a smartphone, ID, good attitude. They can now get connected, and then you can pick up your child first from school, then come home, then do some work, and then go back out and do some childcare as well. So the biggest thing we provide to the B40 segment for the earners is flexibility, and the network to opportunities to earn, similar to artists, and then also the ability for them to learn and upskill. So after they do a few jobs, then they can be good at doing another kind of job. And then we give all of this kind of wrapped up into an ecosystem where they get financial services such as savings, such as insurance, so that they're also protected as a flexible worker, not just full-time workers can get protected, but also with GoGet now you can. So the aim here that this us the B40 segment, is that it really helps them kind of move up. For the other side that we do with B40 is that a lot of people are starting businesses from home, like you said, they don't have a shop now, customers come to them online. If you really, if you're from Malaysia or maybe from all the other countries, do you have a lot of people selling on Instagram where they just have photos of the things that they're selling and they just say, WhatsApp me if you want to order. All these individuals are working from home. They have small businesses, or they may have a stall, but they're also getting extra orders from WhatsApp. So all of this, these people, they need to grow their business, but they only have one or two people in the house. Who's going to do the running? Who's going to do finance work? Who's going to buy the supplies? Like, they cannot hire instantly a 2,000 ringgit full-time staff just to grow the business. So it usually is a stop. It's like a catch-22. They can't scale. But with GoGet, they can say, oh, you know what? Today, actually, I'll get 2 dispatchers for 2 hours, like 20 ringgit. go. And then I need today someone to go run to the supplies to buy me cucumbers and go. 20 ringgit here. So it helps them scale their business so that these B40 business owners can also now run their shop, scale up to be higher than B40, hopefully the M30s, and then move up from that income bracket as well as business owners.
So, how do you convince like traditional businesses, such as the agencies, the headhunters, who may be disrupting things? So how do you not beat, but how can you overcome this?
That's great. Great question. That is our version of taxis to Uber and Grab. Yes. So our version of taxi is a temporary agency or staffing agencies. We break it down in a few segments. If you look at the market, you have the biggest and the players that would only serve the MNCs and big companies like Starbucks, McDonald's, big brands like that. They are not at all focused on the ones selling in Instagram on WhatsApp. So, in fact, we're actually very good compliments for them because we have a whole other segment of companies that they just cannot serve. Why can they not serve? It's because they're too small for them to make money because of traditional agencies. They don't use technology, so they're very high cost to serve a client. So we beat them through cost actually in technology. And then the third one we do is speed. Because of technology, we can ramp up, let's say 100. The most recent thing that everyone's probably done is 1111, right? So 1111, the biggest thing everyone does is shop. But what you don't realize is that the warehouses are bursting, right? So like the Zaloras, the Fashion Ballet, the Lazadas, all have to have people picking and packing and putting it into a package, sending it to a dispatcher, and then getting it sent. All of that needs humans today. And they need to ramp up in their warehouse instantly. So with us, we can ramp up to, we did like 4,000 hours in the warehouse for 1111 itself. And we did that only just by doing a blast in our technology. It takes us a second, few minutes, a go-getter can read the information and say, okay, I'll take that shift. And they can show up, they get paid instantly. So to workers, they get paid faster than a traditional agency. They find their information easily at home. They can just sit down on the couch and read it. And to the employers, they get the people faster as well.
Wonderful. So we'll move on to Ken. Yeah. So, has it been easy to search for the right candidate to join your team? How difficult is it to find the right candidate?
Finding our staff.
That's right. And beyond that, those behind your apps, people who are into it. Is it difficult to source out, these talents, or are they already in the market? It's just that they're waiting for us to create more things for them.
Alright, and before I get my staff, we have to understand our own community. Our local hosts, our local experts, they are the people who love to share their knowledge, and they do have their own exclusive access to rediscover their own neighborhood. And these are the people who love their own town, their own home, the place called home, by interacting with the tourists. And in this community, these people are precious to us. And once we understand our community, and now that's the questions to myself. How can I get the right candidate to operate this business? Of course, for all our staff, our friends, we all love travel. We love talking to people. We have, we are really curious about anything. We love to explore new things. When I first, met our staff, basically I would ask one question. What's the most unique things have you ever explored in your life? And based on this question, I would know, how curious you are. And based on that, we are not here to talk about what's your strength, what your weakness. We are here to talk about what we are passionate at. And as long as I know that you love to travel, and Local is the right place for you. Because we need you to travel. You are not here to sit inside the office, to code your stuff and to design your things. You have to talk to people to understand what they need. Our products are all relying on their requirements, what things we really need to deliver to help their business, to connect, to build more requests to our local hosts. And of course, key strength, skills is mandate, but strength is always beyond what we really want. We are more looking forward to meeting people who are really passionate in this field and who really want to change, our existing ecosystem. And normally that's what I see. When I meet these people, it is all about feeling, because everyone has their own strength, and when we check out their resume, okay, I can see that they have more skill than others, but to me, attitudes come first, because what if this candidate is a fast learner? That's why in our offer letter, what we normally said, we will put 3-month probation. So that's what we have enough buffer time to tax our candidate, and this is one way we hire the right staff.
That's nice. So like you basically you are a digital ambassador. You help young small medium enterprises in a rural area, places where it's out of reach, to gain businesses from it. And I think that must be a very interesting journey. Like, how do you even find these places? How do you even do you use digital? Because clearly, if you're talking about a kampong in Terengganu, which is away from internet facilities and all that, how do you gather all this together?
It's all about network, and as what I shared, I used to be a documentary photographer, and I documented more than 100 Asian trades in an island. And when we really want to help people can feel it, and they would normally recommend their friends to you. Say that, hey, actually my friends is doing Wabulan kite in Kelantan. So that is where we keep discovering more things. And eventually, building trust is really the key things for us to keep our network. And we are much of people who love to travel, and we love to take photos. We love to take video, and that's why whenever we go there, we try to return something. Say if I meet a Wabulan maker in Kelantan, I'm not the one who can speak Malay fluently, but we can use our hands. We can say anything, they can feel it. But what we did to build their trust, we try to take good photos. We try to listen to our local and write the real story, and that story was featured in In-Flight magazine. From Malaysia Airlines. That's what we did for our local hosts. And eventually, when this community see what we did, because we have been doing something, something unique. Someone has not offered that before, so they will support us without any reason. So that's why we have a really good community that really builds the real business in Malaysia before we expanded to other countries.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I'd like to move on to Tony. Tony, so as a young entrepreneur yourself, what type of assistance that you think is crucial to be given to startups?
Keep changing. Just can say, maybe every time we do some strategy, we thought that might work, and we might, because of cash flow as well, because of manpower, I think a lot of restriction when you're going to kickstart, because you are limited resources. So I just can say is, you must saw the demands. If just a startup going to kickstart, you must proven your client willing to pay for your service. That's I think the first thing you need to see. Because especially if you're doing a platform business today, it's a chicken and egg. Okay, they still got a lot of different methods and get free to get what they want. So you must create something value which the user they are willing to pay for your platform service. I think this is the most important, and you must understand more about what's the user, what their behavior and what's their feeling. I think more is like a community-wise. Same like as we are doing an artist platform, we are more to take care about all the designer, their community, what's their journey, what they're doing on platform. Is it just get a job? That's all. But we are more take care on why they didn't get a job. They have to know the reason so we can support each other and grow together. I think that's the thing within our 3 years time and growth with the designer. They start from the first day, they're taking our job, they give comment to our platform. What else they are facing, so we can find the solution and support back to the community. Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to that, Francesca or Ken? You know, the assistance that you think is crucial to be given to startups, because I think it's very important piece of information here on this topic.
I'll just say it from my perspective because I've received a lot of assistance myself. So one of the biggest assistance we've had was definitely funding like Cradle $150,000 at the very beginning. That was great because not only does it just instantly give you a boost to create your product, but it also connected you to a network where they can give you potential clients. It pushes you because you have to deliver milestones so that you get your MOUs, so you get your initial customers and numbers. So that was really good. We've gotten assistance from MDEC throughout all our years, from connecting us to people who would be the go-getters earning, especially because people in the government also have similar mission to uplift people with jobs and create income. So if you find that section in the government is pushing that mandate, those are really great ways not to assist but to team up and go together and solve the social problem. We've had also just mentorship assistance. So throughout my time, I have not only other senior mentors, but I have co-founders that are on the same kind of like tenure of however old we are. So going through the same time of milestones together is amazing because then you have friends to share your pains with, especially because in the beginning, or even now, right, when you are a co-founder or a founder, you're really alone at the top. And most of your stresses you tend to not tell people because you don't want to scare your teammates. So, but if you have really good co-founders or founders that are also in your network, they're really nice to help you kind of move through. And I think those are really good assistance for the ecosystem to survive. Yeah.
And anything to add on?
Yeah, I think three things. The first thing, of course, is a network, and we can see that we can build so many strategic connections and collaborations between startups to boost our impact. And I think the second one would be exposure. We are running our business in Malaysia, but we have no idea, your similar business model might exist, outside of Malaysia. So it's always good to get enough exposure to learn as many best practices as possible. And in startup, it's a cruel. Everything is about speed. And there are so many startups when you say that you have this idea, normally your idea will not be new. It's not innovative enough. I'm pretty sure that similar ideas, are there outside of Malaysia. So that's why we have to understand what they do, what's their problems, how they overcome that, and we can replicate their business model. And by just focusing on the result building, I think the exposure part, MDEC assisted our team a lot. The third things would be the funding. Somehow it relates to exposure. When you have chance and opportunity to step up on stage and share your ideas, share your solutions. Who knows? Some of your friends are investors. They might be interested on your solutions, and that's where you can increase your chance to get this funding.
Thank you. I'd like to open up questions from the delegates. Please introduce yourself, where you're from, and go ahead and ask us.